Alright, got Cyberpunk. I'm ready to play. I don't have an Xbox Series X or can't get it for PS5 right now. I can't find an RTX 30 card. But I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
One eternity later.
I'm ready to play! Cyberpunk 2077. This game is a great game. I'm not going to pretend it's not, but it has its fair share of problems. This game runs best on the PC platform if you have a RTX 30 series card. If you can find one. Or your second best option is to play it on the next gen consoles such as the Series X or the PlayStation 5. If you can find one. Base last gen consoles though, different story. Anywhere from long loading times to texture pop-ins. And CD Projekt Red even actually came out in an interview and said a lot of these issues are from the game engine being starved. Because the game engine streams data into the game, but it's limited by the bandwidth of the storage device. Now, any modern day gaming PC that has beefy specs shouldn't have a problem because it's running on an M.2 or an SSD drive. The next gen consoles shouldn't be a problem because they're running on SSDs and NVMe drives. But the last gen consoles are running on 5400 RPM hard drives, which is slow even by hard drive standards. If you're an Xbox owner, a lot of folks have gone on the internet and said you can easily fix this by getting an SSD. The cheapest route is to go buy an external SSD here and plug it up, run the game off the external SSD. However, you're only running at 5 gigabits per second. Well, here at Beards, Bourbon, and Games, we don't take shortcuts. We go all the way. Let's get into it. Okay everyone, in this video we're going to be showing you how to replace the hard drive in your Xbox One X with a solid state drive. With me here I have Mike.
Hello.
And we're going to dive into the details. So the tools that you need is a T9 torque bit or a T9 torque screwdriver, a pair of tweezers, and some compressed air. I'll tell you where the air comes in later. No, Mike, you do not get to sniff it.
Aww.
So first you'll start off by taking the first T9 screw off the back, and then the other one is actually covered by a kind of like a film or a sticker, so you have to peel that off to access that one. What I always recommend anytime doing these disassemblies is I take a sheet of paper and I just get a Sharpie and just write down something on the paper that tells me where that screw is located. And then as far as the plate, you just slide it forward and then pull up.
You're so much more prepared than I am. I just throw them all into a glass and then hope I can figure it out later.
So here we have, it looks like a ribbon. I think it goes to the Wi-Fi. I'm not 100% sure, but it is a ribbon cable held by 2 screws there. So you just take those out and then you can lift up gently on that ribbon cable because there is a connector there. You definitely don't want to just rip it off. All right, and the side here, or the front, we have a little ribbon cable that you have to push up the latch. And then this is where the tweezers come in. Gently pull the cable out. You do not want to be too hard on those ribbon cables because they are fragile, and if they rip, you're hurting.
Is that the power button?
I believe so. Based on the orientation of the the circuit board there. So there are some more screws there that you unscrew. I think there's 3.
What were you writing there?
then-
Mike sucks. Oh, okay.
And then gently just wiggle it and pull the chip out. There's a connector there that don't have to use a whole lot of force. It just connects and disconnects fairly easy. We'll go to the other side and do the same thing for this chip. Or, well, panel. I don't really know what to call that. But there's a connector there as well.
Was it actually the left? Or was it the right?
I can't remember. So, the bottom of the Xbox is held together by, I believe it is 5 or 6 long screws. We'll count here in the video, but I'm trying to take the long screws out first. And the 4 screws right there actually go to the hard drive, but I realized I missed another long screw, and I think that's all of them. All 5 of them.
Better be.
Nope, there's one more. It's a game of patience when unassembling these consoles. Or disassembling these consoles. Unassembling. Disassembling.
How not to honest.
Exactly. So you will need to unscrew these 4 right here. If you don't, you can't lift up the tray that's holding your hard drive. So keep that in mind. So with those long screws removed, you should be able to just pop off the bottom, and oh my gosh, the dust. So I got this used, by the way. This Xbox One X I got used from a feller from someone around where I live. Pretty good deal on it at the time.
Excuses.
Here I am showing off my sweet screwdriver twirling skills as I'm trying to figure out where to unscrew next. Okay, and you should be able, after you get those 2, you should be able to just pull up, and you got the plate off. So now we're to the good part. Here's where all the internal workings. So we have the fan for the CPU and the GPU there. Got the power supply and the disk drive. Man, that power supply is tiny for that console.
Yeah, I thought that'd be bigger.
I'm gonna fight it. I'm gonna fight it. I'm gonna fight it.
Having some trouble there?
Yep. Yep. I'm gonna be the bigger person. All right, so there is a SATA and a power connector right there. Gave me a little bit of fuss. The important general rule to remember with electronics is never go full barbarian on it and try to rip connectors out. So you will see where I hesitate and I'm trying to wiggle the connection loose to unplug the cord. The bottom of the hard drive tray, really simple. There's 4 screws there. When you take those out, hard drive pops right out.
That's the SSD.
And for those watching that are, you probably don't have an idea of the difference between an SSD and a HDD or a hard drive. SSDs do not have moving parts in them. Your typical hard drive has disk in them that have to spin. They have to spin up the speed, and then they have a reader on it that basically hunts for the data that it's trying to load on that disk. SSDs, there's no moving parts. It's just chips. So it can access that the data it needs instantly. And you'll see a little bit later that's going to improve our load times. So here I put the connector back on the solid state drive and then put the tray on there. Now, the reason why I said to bring the compressed air is this is a good opportunity to clean the internal parts.
Oh God, look at that.
Yeah, it was bad. Which consoles are never opened. So here I'm spraying out the fan. Now you'll notice I put my thumb on the fan blades. That's to keep it from spinning. Even though it's extremely satisfying to blow compressed air and have it spin the fan, that can actually damage the bearings in the fan. So any PC enthusiast, they always recommend hold that fan in place while you're spraying it with compressed air.
Or if you don't care, make it go woo.
It does make a satisfying brrr noise.
But that's the burr of death.
So I'm taking just paper towels here, cleaning the plastic case, and just spraying compressed air on those chips there. I'm not too worried about those. The main thing I was concerned about was that CPU, because dust collecting, that does increase your temperatures, and the hotter your console gets, you're going to start cutting into the life expectancy of it.
I'm glad to know all that dust is in the BBG den now.
That's right. Keeping Mike's Roomba employed. So just reseat everything, and then the metal case should clamp on. Then we just work in reverse. If you look at the case, I just now noticed this. I put a bunch of dust, like blowing things out. After I wiped that case down, I put more debris in it.
Just put it right back in there.
And don't do what I did here. I didn't pay attention to that ribbon cable, and I'm very lucky that I did not cut that thing in half.
Ribbon cables
I was trying to set that.
Ribbon cables are very delicate. If you're not careful, they can just rip by just pulling on them too hard.
They're a pain in the butts what they are. I hate ribbon cables. Every time I open electronics and I see a ribbon cable, I die a little on the inside. Then I'm thinking, where do I start? So here I'm just screwing in the hold the hard drive in place, or SSD in place. Now, it's worth mentioning, if you own a PS4 Pro or a PS4, you don't have to go through all this. There is a single door. There's one screw that opens a door on the bottom of your console, and you just slide the hard drive out.
Such a nice design.
So,
thanks, PlayStation. It's
almost like Jinx. Go ahead, finish that thought.
It's almost like they wanted you to be able to upgrade your stuff. I don't know, like the PS5 you can do, eventually adding more SSD to it.
Well, Mike, you can upgrade this, expand the storage on the Xbox Series X too. Just drop that $200.
The low price.
Speaking of which, I guess we need to look into if that M.2 slot is now available on the PS5. I'll have to do a video on that too.
Yeah, if you'd like to see something like that, let us know down in the comments below.
People don't talk to us much. We like to hear from you.
We're lonely.
So I'm just reconnecting everything here.
You're so fast. You're like the Flash. But
I had 3 espressos when I started this. This was one of the scariest moments for me, was trying to work with that ribbon cable without overextending it. Because like Mike said, if you pull it out too far, you rip that cable, you're done.
All ribbon cables are not created equally, so you can't just pull one out of a random system somewhere. It has to be another one designed for that.
I have ruined plenty of electronics that way.
I mean, heck, even manufacturers have issues with that. I don't know if you all remember from the PlayStation controller painting video. I took my PlayStation 5 controller apart. The ribbon cable was halfway cut, and it was mostly because someone pulled on it too hard and it just started to rip. That's how delicate those things are.
So now I got all the screws back in, and the last thing to do is to get the case on. And I am not proud of how long it took me to do that.
We'll do a little editing magic there, make you look good, man. Don't worry.
So the trick is to hook in one side, and then you got to actually flex the top of the case just a little bit to get it to latch over the other side. And I have no other better way to explain that. I almost cut the ribbon cable here too.
Conquer Corey has it out for ribbon cables.
Yeah, Mrs. Conqueror, she just looked at me and said, "Okay, now you're just playing with it." And once you're done, put the 2 last screws there. One little bit of disclosure. Probably doesn't matter because your warranty's probably out on these consoles. But if you live outside the United States, that warranty void if removed does apply. Okay, so once you have the SSD in there, you have to go to this website, just Microsoft website, to download the operating system, or the OSU 1, whatever they want to call it. It's the operating system is what it is. So you got to download that, and you have to have a flash drive and format it to NTFS. So to do that, plug it into your computer, go to this PC, right-click the flash drive, click Format, File System, set it to NTFS, and just call it whatever you want to call it in the volume label, and then click Start. Okay. So once your format is complete, all you have to do is, I believe, that folder says System Update. Make sure you extract that where it's just the folder instead of zip, and copy the System Update folder to that flash drive. I'm gonna say it's around 5 gigabytes is how big the file is. I'm not mistaken. Okay, so when you start your Xbox, do not get scared. This screen will pop up. So basically, you click the troubleshooting option, and when you plug in the flash drive, that offline system update that's grayed out right there will highlight just like that. So what this is doing is it's pulling that system update folder off the USB flash drive and installing it onto the solid state drive. And while you're waiting on this, go make yourself a cup of coffee, walk the dogs, go to your significant other and talk about your feelings. Because we're going to be here for a while.
That sounds horrible.
I know what everyone's going to ask. Conqueror, why did you do this? The Series X is out. It's a moot point. We were bored.
We also wanted to see if this would help it keep up with the Series X any. If, in case you can't get a hold of one because they're still really hard to buy.
Scalpers. Well, there's plenty on eBay.
Just go pay for those awesome prices. Yeah, good stuff.
$700, $800. At least the Series X ain't nowhere near as bad as the PS5.
Oh, it's getting so bad out there. So once it's done installing, we did a few benchmark tests. Just some load times to kind of see how much it improved. Cyberpunk is what we started with. It took 24 seconds with the SSD to actually load into the game. Same save file,
not bad.
Same everything.
Now the Series X, of course, is a lot faster because it's much newer technology. But if you still got that Xbox One X, the SSD is definitely worth it because it fixes a lot of other problems in Cyberpunk as well, including the texture pop-in issues. The hard drive took me 58 seconds. Now, that's actually pretty good in terms of a hard drive. I've seen it take folks longer. But yeah, so you're cutting down the load time by half. And look at this screen here. You notice where with the SSD, you didn't have all the textures missing. With the hard drive, you do. That's because it's consuming all the bandwidth of the hard drive to load the game. And this screen is kind of an afterthought.
These load times, you can go make yourself a sandwich, drink a Coke, relax a little bit, check your email.
Yeah, and when you think about it too, some people you might think, well, it's an extra 24 seconds. That's an extra 24 seconds each time you start the game.
Right. So we went back and checked some of our Morrowind load data. So the original one, so the SSD took 11 seconds. The original one took 16.4, so it was a little bit faster. We were wondering about some newer games like Assassin's Creed, which we also tested. The SSD took 11 seconds. The old hard drive took 18 seconds. And then we're like, okay, well, what about the Series X? The Series X still only takes 4 seconds to load up Assassin's Creed on a new game, which is a lot faster, but it's got a faster SSD in it, got a faster processor, it's all around better. But if you can't get a hold of one of those, an SSD will help increase your performance overall and kind of give you some more life out of your One X.
And if anything, it's a fun project.
Exactly.
Just the thing to keep in mind, a 1 terabyte as solid state drive, which is what I went for, that'll run you about $80. There are cheaper solutions, as I mentioned earlier in the video. You can buy an external SSD, a much smaller capacity one, and just put your favorite games on there. There is a built-in game transfer option in the Xbox One. I'm pretty sure PlayStation has the same thing, where you can just transfer the games to the external hard drive. It's just keep in mind though, because of the USB 3.0 interface, you're losing a gigabyte per second bandwidth, which is not a major deal, but an internal SSD will be faster than an external one, just by a little bit, not by much. All right, so that's all the time we have for today's video. If you like what you saw, be sure to leave a comment down below. Let us know. And if there's any other games you'd like us to test, let us know as well. We're more than happy to do that for science.
For science.
But if you like our content, feel free to check out our channel. Click that subscribe button. As always, I'm your co-host, Corey the Conqueror.
I'm Mike.
And we'll see ya.
Can't get it for PS5 right now.
Say it again, Dexter.
Get it for PS5. Get it for PS5. Get it for PS5. Get it for PS5.
Listen.